everybody. Welcome back to another episode of We Watched a Movie. This weekend, we watched Avengers Infinity War. It's been building up for 10 years now, and it finally got here, and we watched it today. And we're going to talk about it all right now. So, Brandon, why don't you go ahead and lead us off, man? I know you have a lot to say, dude.
I love this movie. It's so good. Oh, finally Marvel just executed on everything it had been setting up for a decade. It had a ton of run up and it ran into a singular point, came into a singular reality, and I thought it was amazing. Do you feel the same?
I am angry. I am pissed off, frankly. Okay. To me, it felt like this almost feels like, okay, so the Avengers movie, the first one, okay, and I've said it for a long time, and I know you do not agree with me on this, but I think this movie even further cements my position on that film. That movie, the whole thing of that movie, the only thing that movie has going for it is that you're getting all of these separate heroes together in one film for the first time ever, and that concept had never been done before. And that Joss Whedon, God bless him, and I love Firefly, and I love his work, but for all that he did rely just solely on, hey, I've got all these characters to work with, they've opened up the toy box, and we're just going to put all of our figures on the table, and boom, and that movie relies so heavily on that. I think the third act is weak in that movie. I think the third act breaks down in that film, and you have this gelatinous blob monster that they're facing that doesn't matter because the real bad guy, as we've now found out, is Thanos. It had been Thanos the entire time. And is it Thanos or Thanos?
Thanos.
Okay. We'll agree on Thanos. So and then also it doesn't matter anyways,
right.
Because again, your whole point of that movie is just getting those characters together, and I really felt like this movie felt very much like a continuation of that exact same thing.
Completely opposite.
I think the only Avengers movie that has any merit as a film is Age of Ultron.
That's the I totally
movie
disagree.
That has a good storyline that stands on its own.
I think that Marvel brilliantly brings this movie together. I think this movie is brilliant. I think, if you're going to bring up the first Avengers movie, it's a series of connecting lines that come into a tight, intricate knot. And what we have here is the display of the effects of numerous films. We have all these films coming together, all these characters that have been tightly wound and given different motivations. And finally, they're all given breath at the same time and allowed to give the space to breathe and become one breath. And I'm like, oh, finally, we have a movie that is all of them. Not centric on specific individuals, but more the idea that we have a continuous universe that doesn't care about the individual, but is larger than that. And I think Thanos is beautifully realized by Josh Brolin, who does a great job of explaining Thanos' very complex thinking. I was afraid they were going to cop out and they were going to try and subvert Thanos' love for death. And I mean literally the being death, and use his fascination with her as a motivation. And instead they go to the more core philosophical reasoning of Thanos' actions of balancing the universe where intelligent beings don't rip their own planets apart and kill everything on them by virtue of overpopulation. And he's dealing with the overpopulation the way that any intelligent being would.
But is that actually even an aspect of his comic book character?
Absolutely. When he first deals with the Silver Surfer, he takes him to planet after planet, and he shows them he separates him from his board, and he's like, hey, Silver Surfer, who isn't part of the Marvel Universe, which is a huge loss to Thanos, and he's like, look at this. These people killed their entire planet. And then he takes them to another planet. He's like, look, these people are about to do the same thing. If we cut their population in half, we can save everything on this planet. By killing half of one species, we can save a multiplier more species and give them a chance to grow and develop into intellects. And like that's really core to Thanos' premise, because unlike a lot of bad guys, Thanos is a philosophical enemy. He's not a physical enemy. He'll beat you physically.
Certainly, this movie version is. Certainly, the
he wins physically.
Is for
he
sure.
wins physically.
Philosophical. He's a philosophical villain. At least the MCU version of him.
I mean, he's trying to save everyone.
Again, I was always under the assumption or understanding, and again, I don't know for sure because I didn't read enough of those other Marvel titles to have a clearer view on it. Right. But I was always under the understanding that he was just in love with death, and that was really all the core to his character there really was.
Oh, right. So, like, that's true, but that's like saying because I love my wife, that's all I am.
Right.
Fair enough. Like, Thanos is more complicated than that, and that's one of the reasons why I really gravitated towards, like, amongst the characters I really loved in the Marvel universe was, like, Iron Man, and then, like, kind of above that, Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer, as a comic, really dives into these philosophical questions. Right? And frequently Silver Surfer, by virtue of his strength, like he's not questioned physically. Physically he wins, but mentally he's challenged, and Thanos is his greatest challenge. Because Thanos' question is it right to kill things for the sake of saving things?
Right.
Like if you're a hero willing to kill a villain, are you willing to kill people that don't understand that they are the villain?
Right.
If their population has amassed to the point where they're going to kill everything and they're willing to bring it to an absolute zero game, is it better to just kill half of them? Yeah. And he makes it very clear he's only going to kill half of you and bring you back to a balance.
He's very much in that vein of the Ra's al Ghul style villains that were popular in the 70s in comics, and like, yeah, I mean, totally.
Yeah, no, Ra's al Ghul understands that, but like even inside of that, like he's smaller viewed. Thanos is very like, because he has so much power, Thanos has an amazing amount of power, and he's incredibly strong. He could accomplish most anything he wants. If it was selfish, he could have all the things he wants, but it's not a selfish desire. It's an empathy he has for the rest of life. So I think the thing that's important is that Thanos thinks that it's very painful, but you have to hold life back or it will consume all that there is. Right. And I think that they did a great job of realizing that in Thanos, and I was terrified because, like, as someone who loves Silver Surfer in the Marvel Universe, I was afraid they're going to shortchange Thanos' mental attributes for the sake of making a love interest the focal point, and I love that they just discarded death. They were just like, death doesn't even play into this. Don't even worry about it. It's a psychological battle.
Right.
Do you sacrifice all life for the sake of the handful of beings that will live at the end of it? Which he is. Like, his planet died, and, like, he is that survivor. Yeah. So he's kind of, like, representative of the people who did survive destroying your whole planet out of vanity.
Yeah.
Out of vanity.
Again, to me, it seems to rely way too heavily on the whole thing of, you know, okay, we've got all these characters from all these different films together, and then that last 10 minutes, man. That last 10 minutes, you have killed off, because that's another thing, too, is we know a good chunk of these characters that leave the screen, if you will, by the end of this movie, that they will be coming back. I mean, let's just go through the list, all right?
All right.
So
first and it's not just the first 10 minutes; it's the whole movie.
Right off. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Let's start off the bat.
Let's start with the
Heimdall.
beginning of the film. So you got Heimdall,
Idris Elba, like as as Heimdall.
Idris Elba and
Amazing.
Heimdall, right? And then you got Loki.
Yeah.
You know, you got Huddleston's Loki.
Oh, which is so good, and he gives a great final performance.
Who's next after that goes?
Oh shoot, man, it's even hard.
It's I guess the next one, the next actual one that I can think of would have been what's her name? His daughter.
I mean, then he kills Gamora.
Gamora, yeah.
Like, there's
Gamora.
an amazing moment where he has to pay the final price, which has the Red Skull, which is what I've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
And
when I'm
that's-
talking about lines intersecting,
and
you can't talk about it without talking about Red Skull.
Yeah, no. And I will give you that. I will give you that was a nice little snack that they gave me in the middle of that movie. But that snack was not enough to overshadow the turd that they dropped in my mouth.
Right, but killing
in those
Gamora
last
was a
10
real
minutes.
emotional moment.
No,
like,
yeah, don't
you
get me
felt
wrong.
like
Sure,
Thanos'
I guess.
pain. He actually cared about someone, and it
Yeah,
was Gamora.
I guess.
And you're like,
I mean,
or he wouldn't have earned the stone. And I thought for a CGI character,
The problem
that was a
I
well-realized
didn't care
moment.
about Gamora in that moment.
Well, that
I
is
didn't.
problematic.
I was ready for. I was just like, come on, can we get to Can we get into beating this guy already? And I mean, I guess that's part of the problem too. Is that the way that it ended? I'm like, man, you guys have put yourselves into. Now, again, I'm. The more that I think about it, and the more that I sit in it afterward, I've got to give the Russo brothers some amount of give and leeway, because what they're doing the next one too. They're doing the fourth Avengers film as well, right?
Right.
So I've got to give them some amount of leeway between now and then, that overarching and in some of these other films, we are going to get answers, and we are going to get aspects that will confirm that, yes, we've got Captain Marvel coming. I'm reserving some amount of judgment. But right now, I'm pretty pissed off.
give the judgment. Give the judgment. Because, the ending is painful.
Doctor Strange, Spider-Man,
these are characters that died.
Star-Lord. Well, these are characters that died. Okay,
That
anybody
Thanos
that
kills
did
at the
that
end of the
turn
movie.
to dust thing, because that's all that. I mean, that was Thanos, right? That was Thanos' ultimate wish is coming true. Is all that was. That was
Okay.
half the world, half the universe's population
So
just dropping.
this
okay?
movie does the thing
And
that
it-
extremely rarely happens. That
They
the
let
bad guy win.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he doesn't
But
just
it's
kind of win.
so-
It's not like a half win.
So stuck.
It's
dude.
literally.
They stuck the landing. They didn't. It's like they.
I completely disagree. I completely
no.
disagree.
They
No,
just they
it
do
has-
not land that well.
It has a
does
final
not land well
battle
for me.
And it's amazing. It takes place
feels
on
so
two
forced.
planets between Titan, which is the planet that Thanos comes from,
Right.
and it's Tony Stark and half of the
Which-
Guardians of the
Isn't
Galaxy
that
and
a
Spider-Man.
moon of one
And
of the planets in our solar system?
no, it's a different planet. Titan is a
I know, but I'm
moon.
just saying.
But it's not the moon of Mars,
Right.
Titan.
Whichever one it is.
Yeah. Whatever planet is, it might be Saturn. It doesn't matter. It's Titan, the home of Thanos. Right. Where his first failure occurred,
Right.
and he gets taken on
Where
by a
he is essentially Marlon Brando from the first Superman movie. If Marlon Brando from the first Superman movie had survived the explosion of Krypton and then gone on to become an intergalactic badass who just sought this solution, this final solution, if you will, to some sort of weird galactic overpopulation that doesn't make any sense to me, given that the universe is expanding and that I don't...
Well, see, but
that's
it's only
just-
expanding to you because you're a person. That's one of the things I love about this, is Thanos' mind is large enough that he's taken in the whole of the universe. And he's it has a finite number of stars. It has a finite amount of reality.
Okay,
And
that's a
of all
theory.
the people, they're
It is a
starving.
theory
He
that-
even
that
talks,
they-
he has
that
this
the
great
universe is
discussion
finite.
with
First of
Gamora,
all.
which I think is
Which, I don't know.
fantastic. I think that his discussion with Gamora about her planet, where she's telling him how he has failed as a father, he failed as a conqueror.
Right.
You killed half my people, and he's like, when I found you, your planet, all of you were starving. All of you were looking for food and water, and you couldn't even
And
survive. And you were about to die. And then I cleansed your planet of half the people, and now it's a paradise.
I just
and
figured
he
out.
sees that he's creating paradise.
Okay, well, I just figured out what one of my problems is with this movie. There is not a single character on the good guy side of this movie who gives a logical or reasonable argument against Thanos. There's
Well,
not
right,
one.
no, it's only
There's
emotional.
Not one. All they do is try to fight him physically, and then they fail at that. There's not one person, not one of those characters that stands up and goes,
Because you
no,
can't.
you're wrong. Yes, you can.
No.
And that's the whole point.
No,
That's
no.
what I guess I was
Captain
missing
America.
out of this.
Captain America gives
Captain
that speech
America
about we
should
don't
have been the one to
sacrifice.
say it.
No, he says we don't sacrifice one
he gives
to
one
save the others.
throwaway line.
No, it's like
You
the
know,
it's
that's
the
not-
antithesis of not destroying Vision,
Yeah.
which is the antithesis for like the
And
whole
thank
war
God
in Wakanda.
at least they had
Like,
Steve
that's
Rogers
what- 'cause,
give
like-
one bit of dialogue.
Steve Rogers is like Vision sees the solution right away, and I think this is very important to state. The solution is you destroy an Infinity Stone, and they have a beautiful.
And they
they
do
find they
succeed
give
in
they
that.
well, I mean, and they give a beautiful play to Vision and Scarlet Witch's relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
That
like
was-
one of
that
those
was well
comic
done.
book things
I liked that. Yeah.
you want to see,
Yeah.
and they let them just play it without
Yeah.
makeup, and it's tender and it's
good.
emotional,
It's good.
and it has
Yeah.
real feeling. It has real feeling. I love that. I love that Marvel gives it the space
I
to
do
breathe.
want to take a
But
moment and blow
the
up
way
the
to-
movie a little bit too, though. I want to talk about the good things that I did like. All right.
All right.
And you said one. I said one of them earlier, and you said it made you want me to punch me or whatever. But like Mark Ruffalo as the Incredible Hulk, I want a Mark Ruffalo Incredible Hulk movie. Like, I want that so bad at this point after Ragnarok and after this movie. Give me a Ruffalo Hulk movie, please.
I'm not mad at that. I think that it's just that the Hulk has always been a secondary character who jumps in his best moments and helps
disagree.
other characters.
I disagree. I completely disagree. And I loved the Incredible Hulk, the one movie, the movie that kind of, I guess you say is
Edward
still
Norton's.
technically canon. Yeah.
Yeah, Edward Norton's.
I
Yeah.
guess
And it's
Ruffalo
beautiful.
is still kind of technically the Edward Norton version of the Hulk.
He is. He is.
but-
I think that was a beautiful
but
transition.
Give that dude a movie on his own as the Hulk. Give him a movie.
Well,
Just
because
stop.
he's
Stop
trying to
messing around
avoid
and give him a
conflict.
movie.
Unlike the other
He's the
beings,
freaking
he
Hulk.
tries
It's not
to
gonna happen.
avoid conflict. And
I mean-
no, that's even true of this movie. Like the
I did
Hulk,
like that. I did
the
like that.
Hulk after he
That-
gets his ass
yeah.
handed to
Yeah.
him, and he gets in the first 5 minutes of this movie, the Hulk fights Thanos, and
just
Thanos
gets
hands him his butt. No, but I think Hulk getting his butt handed to him by Thanos actually leads into the power of Thanos and
Yeah.
how absolute it is. It's not like Thanos is like a halfway threat.
No,
it's not like
yeah,
he's like
yeah.
a halfway villain.
Right.
He is all the way, which I think leads into the end of the movie where we lose so many characters.
It seemed forced. It seemed just, I don't know. There's a lot of issues that are raised by that one action. And then if they
'Cause
do
Thanos
go back,
kills-
if they do go back, and there is some kind of, because there is going to have to be some kind of astronomical Deus Ex Machina that they're going to have to pull out to undo all of this. Because, yeah, I mean, again,
Well, I
the
think
list,
this is
and we should have said this at the beginning of the episode, and we didn't. And if you're in this far, well, you're kind of too late. But spoilers, like, for real. But, like, yeah, I mean, the list is huge, dude. You know what I mean? Like, Star-Lord, frickin' Drax, the Waspy girl, right? Because she
Right.
went to dust. I mean,
The
like,
Winter Soldier.
Black
Oh,
Panther.
shoot, Black Panther.
Black
no,
Panther,
I love
dude.
the fact.
Who just
let's
got a
let's
movie
stop
that
and
came
hit the
out?
big one. Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that too.
Spider-Man.
Right, Spider-Man.
Everyone
Yeah,
dies.
Spider-Man.
Half of
Yeah.
all the Avengers.
Yeah.
They cut that shiz
Yeah.
down the middle,
Yeah.
and they do not show any quorum
just-
with killing billion-dollar.
But they're not going to do.
franchises.
But they're not doing that. That's probably the biggest issue that I have with it.
No,
is that it is obviously a half-hearted attempt.
Okay, so
Like-
here's the thing. We have, like, I think you said it, like, when you were like, this is a godly this is an ungodly ending. I think more importantly, this is like a godly ending where we don't necessarily have the normal range of powers. Like we're talking about the Infinity Gauntlet. At that point, you're talking about bending reality.
No doubt.
And the beings
No doubt.
dealing with this are at the highest level of like Marvel power.
Which actually was one of the things that, like, back when, you know, they first announced even, or that, you know, back when the first Avengers movie came out and there was that end scene with Thanos and everybody was like, oh my God, Thanos is in there. I was like, there's no way that they're going to bring Thanos into this. Like, that's just ridiculous.
And he crushes everyone.
You can't freaking do that because it's too much. That's way too much power to be trying to work with and make it a feasible movie. And they've run into that roadblock, at least as far as I can see.
I totally disagree. I think that they played it out perfectly. Like, as a big Marvel fan, I see that they have, once again, like how they like lay out lines to like a singular knot. They have a knot that's actually a noose that they've laid out for him, and they're going to choke him on the next one by virtue of his own weight. And I see it perfectly laid out. Right. They have tons of great actors in this that they are laying out fantastic performances that I think with post-sight are going to be amazing. I think that they don't just know their next step, but they know their next 3 steps. And Marvel, unlike DC, like when they kill like Superman and they're like, Superman's dead, and then just all the
which is what this felt like.
Then like all the Justice League have exactly what they need to bring him back. The opposite of this is we didn't kill our one unstoppable one. We killed them ad hoc. Like, I mean, it was like a dice roll who you took out, and like it didn't have any relevance.
Still gimmicky. That's
to
still
But then if they laid out the framework, because like there's like a scene like, God, 2/3 of the way through the movie where Doctor Strange is like playing through time and he sees all the plays out, all the ways that this can play out.
14,600,000.
Yeah, and he's like, out of 14 million, there's like one.
Right, there was one.
That will work.
Yeah.
And then he lays that out, and then the rest of the movie plays out. And you don't know how that's going to play out. But like when there's a moment where like he's dying because he gets vaped at the end, and he's looking at Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is like, "Why would you do that?" And he's like, "This is the only way we're going to win." Yeah, and like it plays into it as a Marvel thing. It's about like self-sacrifice.
Right. Well, that's why I'm partially reserving judgment on this until the 4th Avengers movie comes out.
I really think this should have been a 6-hour movie. I know you can't make a 6-hour movie the same way we can't make a 6-hour review.
Right.
Which I wish this was.
God, we could. Yeah.
I have so much to say. But I just can't because you won't watch it that long.
Because you're not going to watch that long. But that has been Avengers Infinity War.
Go see it with the rest of the world.
I'm not going to tell you to go see it. You know, you're going to go see it anyways.
Because it's good. It's really good. It'll make you hurt. He hurts.
That's a thing that exists.
It makes you hurt.
So there you go. Anyways, until next time, we'll catch you guys later. Y'all keep watching movies. Bye.
Enjoy it. Thanks for watching. This has been another episode of Badger Nerdworks Presents We Watched a Movie. I'm Brandon.
I'm Finn.
And we appreciate you watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. We'd love to hear what you think. We have a lot of thoughts. We'd love to hear what you think. Hit the bell icon so you know when new videos are coming out. We do appreciate that. We have other videos over here. They're awesome. Check them out. Have a good evening.